Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is an episode 115. As the 5 stands for, today we talk about change, transformation, and anger. In today's episode, I'm gonna dive into my journal, which I had a time to reflect back, and I found a lot of anger and disappointment over there when I was at this journey. How I felt that this journey is absolutely unfair. How I felt the pain I never felt before. How I had to go through something on my own, and I felt so lonely. In today's episode, I'm going to read some of the clips and some of the stories from my own journey. And I will speak about the anger. Why the anger is there. What is it showing to us? And is it okay to feel anger? Is it okay to feel anger towards your twin flame that they do not see you, or they do not contact you, or they don't tell you the love, the connection, why they don't see that, why we are alone, why you are suffering alone, why? And is it even the twin flame story real, or it's not? And what is real? In today's episode, we begin with an anger of itself. And then we talk about it if that's okay. Why do we feel that anger? Where that anger comes from? And is that good to feel? Is it good to say things out loud that I'm angry, I'm disappointed, I don't believe, while all of the teachings or things I say to you is always choose love, always be in love, don't hate your twin flame or don't be angry. But I'm going to tell you that the anger is inside of you, the inner world that is reflected by this situation. And it's a good thing that is coming out. We should never suppress the anger. It might feel like you are in that moment. When I was reading back on my journal, it really made me to feel like, oh my, why I was so separated from myself. Why I was afraid of vulnerability. Why I tried to protect something I didn't need to protect, but it was something inside of me that I was so used to protecting. So today we're gonna go through the ego. That ego and anger are very much connected of this journey, and it might obviously trigger you. I'm going to say that this episode is most probably going to trigger because there's a lot to take. And then I'm gonna talk about the non-duality and duality of Bhagavad Gita. Those who are studying Bhagavad Gita, I will talk a little bit in that sense of, for those who are not interested, then maybe you can skip the end part, but it's very important. Bhagavad Gita talks a lot about duality and non-duality and the non-duality teachings, and these are parts of twin flames. But maybe that's not something you're ready to learn or do something, so then you can skip that part. As usual, at the end we have a song. Many of you are big fans of the songs. I tried to put some of them together that you can enjoy. But let's go now into, and I will really start with my story. What I found another day on my journal. And you will see the part of me maybe you didn't even know that can be in there. And that's why I say, when every time I see the reaction of yours of this journey, whichever reaction it is and whichever stage you are in it, I totally understand. Because I felt all of this that you are feeling, whether it's the anger, whether it's disappointment, whether you feel lost and disconnected, you feel alone, you feel like everything is crumbling in your journey. I felt it too. And it's not something good. And here is just one thing I want to say that is really actually helping, is to talk to someone. It doesn't have to be me, not at all. My podcast idea is not to tell you that you have to talk to me. But talk to someone. Or vocalize that by yourself. Or put it down into the journal. Let it out of you. Because the more you are stirring that soup inside of you, the more unbearable it will become. Because sometimes on this journey, we just need to be heard. We just need to be listened. We just need that sacred moment. And it's so healing and transformative. We should never take this moment of sharing your story, sharing your pain, sharing your vulnerability like that this is something we should avoid. It's a purification through that. That's the first step of healing. I will talk about the healing as well. What are the healing methods of doing so? So just I want to say to here that if you ever feel you are ready to talk, you're ever to let it out of you, twinflameawakeningjourney.com, and I'm more than happy to meet you. Just to say that, in case you feel alone, in case you are suffering what I was suffering. So I'm just going to read you one part of it. I am so alone. I don't understand how something that's supposed to be love and connection has made me feel this broken. I hate this whole thing, the entire twin flame journey. It's like my twin has shattered me into millions pieces, and I don't even know how to put myself back together. He broke me. I hope he's happy whenever he is, living his life while I'm stuck here, feeling like this. I hope I never see him again, ever. I don't want to hear about this twin flame crap anymore. It's all finished, all of it. This whole journey is nothing about pain and disappointment. I feel so lonely. I don't know what to do next. Why no one talks about how, when something is destroying inside of you, feels? Why it feels so painful, so hard. At this moment, I don't give a damn about the spiritual lessons I have to learn, or the healing, or any of it. I don't understand it. Where is the part where I'm supposed to feel better, or whole, or transformed? I've done the work. I have tried. I meditate. I connect. I'm gratitude. I'm all of it. But it breaks me inside. My twin, literally, you broke me. And it's so hard to put these pieces back together. I don't even know where to start. And here I am. I'm feeling lonelier than ever. I keep pushing. I keep trying to find myself, but nothing changes. And I still feel like I'm sinking. No matter how hard I work on myself or how much I try to move forward, how much I try to stay on my way, knowing what comes next, I haven't slept. I haven't eaten. And I don't know who I am. Why? It is so painful. And is it that even real? I feel like I'm trapped. I can't escape this pain, no matter what I try. And I can't escape him. Even though I say right now I don't want to see him again, deep down I know it's not true. But right now I just don't care. I feel so defeated. I just want this to be over. And when this is going to be over. I want to forget him. I want to forget this entire journey from the day one. I want to get out of it and just feel alive again. But I don't even know who I am anymore. So this is one part of my journal, what I wrote to you, and it's quite a vulnerable story of mine, which I haven't shared. But why did I decide to share? Because I believe many of you are feeling the same way. And I see that energetically a lot is happening. I'm going to unfold a couple of things over here when we're feeling this pain and that anger on this way. It's because your soul is now in a state of love, but the ego is trying to hold this back. The ego is trying to hold the old version of you there. And so for ego, it is like something is attacking it, something is taking it over. And as unfortunately, this twin flame journey, or fortunately, is transformational. And I'm going to say, when I was reading this, I realized, like I always realized this, the twin flame journey is a gift. Yes, it broke me. And it's most probably going to break you. It's going to shatter you into the pieces, and you're going to have a resistance. You're going to have an anger. You're going to have a lot of things. But it's transformation. And transformation requires letting go of the old to make room for the new. So you need to let go of the old beliefs, thought patterns, emotional habits that you have been keeping up with a lifetime. One way of protecting you, I know some of you sometimes come on the call and I say you have a very much of a protective energy. You protect yourself, but you need to let your souls, spirits to protect you, and you open the heart. But another thing I really want to put my focus on, when we are on that state of anger, disappointment, feeling resentful, feeling like this is not real and why is it happening to me? That's not the time where we're going to go into the healing, transformation, all of it. We have to follow that path. But that's the time where we're going to feel it. We're going to feel it. We can talk to someone. I didn't. Don't do what I did. Really don't do it, what I did. I had a conversation with my mother another day because she's going through a transformation thanks to this Kundalini energy, and it doesn't feel very pleasant. And we spoke, and I was there, and I was showed to her, and then I brought it in a bit of my example. And she looked at me and said, "You never said a single word." And I said, "Yeah, because I didn't know what was going on with me. Every day I took as a survival, that I hope I can live the next day. But I show it to everybody that I was very happy, very content, very in alignment. I was not. It was my way of masking it." And so to say that the habits that have formed, like one of my habits was to mask that I'm hurt. I would never cry in front of anybody. If you hurted me, or I got hurt, or something happened, I would put my poker face on. I would say, "I'm okay, thank you so much." And I would walk away. And maybe then, in the corner somewhere, I would cry. But not in front of the people. And that was what I developed with an ego. The vulnerability. Telling that someone is hurting me. Telling that something is wrong is a bad thing. And it reflected me back as a child. I remember I had to become very early on independent, which I'm very thankful for. But of course, when as a child you lose your childhood and you become independent, there is this trade-off you pay. And I remember that when something happened to me, let's say I fell down, or I got hurt, or something happened. Let's say I forgot something, or I made a mistake. I would never ask anyone's help. I would never say, "Oh, I don't know what to do. Can you help me?" I would always find it all by myself. So now just to see it, when I was feeling all of this, what I was feeling, the ego was crumbling at this time. And even though I put all of that anger into my twin flame of saying, "You hurt me, you destroyed me," actually, I had to re-feel it, what it means, what I have done for myself for years. And the ego is the part of our consciousness. that thrives on maintaining the status quo, like status. And it identifies with familiar roles, narratives, and control mechanisms. That's why we kind of need to kill the ego. And that provides us the security and self-knowing, like certain things that, let's say, I am this, my name is that, I'm born there, I'm this, my family was like this. And so we kind of create that avatar with all of this. And so now, when the twin flame journey challenged these old patterns and attachments, whether it's a belief about love, your personal boundaries, your knowing, your self-identity, the ego starts to feel threatened. The ego starts to resist the process of change. Because it comes as a feeling that there is a loss of control. And when you have a loss of control, it's a threat. It's a threat for your ego. Let's say, how many times we've been in a situation where you don't know the answer, but then you kind of need to look like the smartest person in the room. So we see this all the time where people defend because they're an ego, even if they're right or wrong, but they defend. It's from the ego, because you feel threatened. You feel that my core belief, this is wrong. And this resistance now, the essential threat, like for me and often on Twin Flame Journey, it's about opening the heart, the vulnerability, letting the love happen, letting you feel that unconditional love. And I talk about what is unconditional love. It's all coming up from this resistance now within your ego manifests into anger, frustration, and a lot of deep senses of fears. And in the moments when you feel like you're losing control over the direction of the relationship or the intensity of your emotions, the ego starts to lash out, trying to regain control over the situation. And anger then is a defense mechanism. Defense mechanism against the spiritual growth that the journey is inviting you into. Let that settle in with you right now. The anger becomes a defense mechanism, defending against the spiritual growth that this journey is inviting you in. And one of the learnings are non-duality, oneness, unity. But the anger, what you have, is here to separate you. The separation is illusion. We're going to talk about that. And so in the Twin Flame journey, it's a direct challenge to the ego's dominance. And it asks you to surrender, to let go of your expectation, and to trust into something that you don't know. And when you heard me, I said, where is that? How can I trust something I don't know? How can I be? And the ego's inability is to easily to surrender into the flow, what creates that internal conflict, leading into the emotional turmoil. That's why when we are in the ego state, we become defensive. We start thinking what they're doing wrong, all of this. And it's not a bad thing. I really want to say that when I talk about it, it's not the fact that you're doing something bad. Look at me. I felt all of that. It's a natural part of the process. That's what it is. But not to get stuck there. And I will talk about this, some of the things that will help you along the way. And I really, really say, if you haven't started your healing process, if you don't have someone who helps you to heal, who helps you to transform, and you keep on going into that anger, into that frustration, I really say, and I'm going to say that if you can, come to the retreat. if you feel your soul is ready to release that protection, come to the retreat. It happens in Costa Rica in about 1 month from here, 1.5 months. If you cannot, put yourself, like every day, $10 or something aside that you can have once a month a healing session. Whether it's Reiki, Kundalini activations, whether it's going to breathwork sessions, whether it's sound healing. Just think about it. Put $10, €10 aside. If you can't put 10, put 5. Don't take this lightly. But just to say, when you are in the healing process, you're going to feel it, that the rage will come. All of this will come. And it's so beautiful because you are letting go of it. No longer the ego can control, you're starting to let go of it. And just to say that as its core, the ego is wired for self-protection. Because we learn that from our childhood, we learn from the ego to protect, to show something from. And when we are being shown the vulnerability, it feels like your weakness. And it's a state where we are open to harm, rejections, or emotional pain. But twin flame connection in that sense is unique. In that, it's very unique. As it requires and demands and asks from you this raw, unfiltered, emotional honesty. And when you heard my story, you can see the honesty of me. I hated this journey. I will read another clip of it as well. And it brings you to face with parts of yourself that may have been completely hidden, even from yourself. You didn't even know that it's there. And this level of openness is very terrifying for the ego, because it feels like you're giving up the armor that has protected you from the past hurts. The love, literally from the love. And if you wonder why your twin flame is running, it's because of that. It's that simple. And this twin flame journey will expose you to your deepest wounds. And it triggers in a lot of emotions, because it's spiritual purpose, to purify your soul and lead you to unconditional love. When I started this podcast, my main purpose with this podcast was to show you what it means to become your higher self. Not about that person, not about what happened. What about to purify and become your unconditional love? We just had this weekend a soul realignment session, which is very powerful, and I have never shared that, and it's not publicly available. And so those of you who would like to do a private, I will put it up that you have a private option as if you missed it. There is going to be an option to watch it on Patreon and follow the guidelines, but I really like you to take that within heart. It is a purification. And so when we are facing the fear or uncertainty, we don't know what's coming. We don't know what's coming. And you heard that from me. I said, I have done all the work, I'm meditating, I'm doing, but I don't see any changes in my life. It's all a disaster. I can barely survive. And then the ego comes in with an anger of defensiveness and trying to shield you from the perceived threat of being emotionally naked. For the ego, the most vulnerable risk is to being hurt, abandoned, betrayed, feeling rejection, not getting the answers, and especially when the connection is as intense as this one. But in truth, just to say that what it is, the fear of vulnerability, is a reflection of the ego's attachments to the past pain and trauma. And I brought in my example, one of them. And it holds on to old emotional scars as a way of preventing the next pain. But Twin Flame Journey is about transcending this fear, about realizing the true strength that lies in the vulnerability that is there, that is inside of you, the vulnerability. And unfortunately or fortunately, only through deep emotional openness you can experience this profound love and the unity that your soul craves, that your soul is seeking for, that your soul has been looking for. And as you move through this process, anger is a marker of ego's discomfort. When you feel anger, when you feel disappointment, when you feel that this is not real, it's your egos that is inviting you to explore the deeper layers. And now talking of the illusion of separation. We often talk about I'm in a separation. My twin, I haven't heard from my twin. I don't feel this and I don't feel that. But this is ego. And we talk about the Bhagavad Gita and all of this at the end of it, so those who want to listen. But ego, by its nature, operates in a world of duality, where everything is divided into self and others. And this sense of separation is a way of how the ego perceives reality. To question again, what is reality? And it starts to categorize and everything to put into what are the experiences, relationships, identities, and creating boundaries. But in this twin flame journey, the illusion of separation is constantly challenged. And this is why the connection between twin flames is not only emotional or psychological, it's very much spiritual and energetic. Why do I work with energies today? Why do I do what I do today? Because I realized it's so energetic. Only through the energy, aligning with the cosmic energies, aligning with an energy within you, you can shift and change. It's not from the mind. And but the ego is deeply rooted into the belief of individuality and separation. And it has a very difficult times to see the highest truth. That truth that is within you. And I'm going to say you're not going to see the truth through your mind. You need to quiet the mind. And you need to go inside. And the way you're going to go inside is to connect with the divine. Through meditations, through activations, through all of that. And then it's going to manifest. And the more intense your connection becomes, the more real the gap between the soul's understanding of unity and the ego attachment to the separation becomes. And when twin flames experience physical or emotional distance, physical, let's say you don't hear from them, you've never seen them, they don't say to you anything back, or emotional, meaning they tell you, they look at you, they never tell you they love you, they never connected, they are in a different relationship. The ego now creates that is an abandonment, rejection, and again, feelings of anger, frustration, disappointment, all of that comes up. Because it comes to an idea that you are separate from your twin. Ego. I know it's difficult to hear that, what I'm talking right now, when you are in anger and pain. It's very difficult to hear that. And just to say, I'm not taking it any personally if it's difficult to hear that, because you heard my story, you heard what I read. And the twin flame journey teaches you the separation of an illusion, that separation is an illusion. That at a higher level, you're always connected to your twin, even when you are completely physically apart. But for the ego, this is a very hard truth to accept. The ego just wants proof of connection, control over the situation, and really clear signs that the relationship is the way it's supposed to go, and it's the way it's supposed to happen, and what is supposed to happen there. And when we don't have this information at present, the ego reacts with disappointment, often feeling betrayed on this journey, feeling that this is a scam, this is not real, this is all an illusion. And this disappointment is not because the connection is failing. It's because the ego cannot yet fully align with the deeper truth of unity. And the anger and sadness that arise from this illusion of separation serve a purpose. Now they serve a purpose for you. Don't think of that it's a bad thing. We talk about the duality. It's not a bad thing. This forces you to confront the limitations of ego-based love. Ego-based love is conditional and transactional. But in a twin flame journey, you are invited to see to transcend the ego's need for validation, control, and separation. And you have to move into the unconditional love and unity. And there, where your soul recognizing that there is no true separation that exists. There is no such a thing. And I have said that so many times. When you tap into that higher version of you, you tap into that, you feel it. And I'm sure you have felt it. Some of you have had this situation of samadhi, where you feel the oneness. You feel the love. You feel the connection. You feel everything around you is alive, and there is no need for that physical person because you're feeling it right now, right here. But just to say that it's not something it's going to happen just like that. Just like, oh, it's gone. No. When you feel anger today, write it down. Write the disappointment. Write everything down. Feel it, express it. If you need to scream, scream. If you need to use this in a physical way, let's say running or jumping or doing some sport, go and do it. But feel it. Because this is a healing part as well. If you need to talk, come and talk. But now I will read you another part of me, which I wrote. I am just so sick of hearing about this twin flame and the reality of the twin flames. If it's all so connected, then why do I feel so disconnected? Why do I feel so alone? Why I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel? Well, if there is no separation, which I can clearly see is there, then why then this pain feels so real? I can't escape that pain. If we are one, or the one soul, then why there is so much need for him? Why there is so much I need? I feel really much alone. I don't see how it's gonna end. And there's no one who's gonna come and save me. I can't stand the word of letting go and surrender to what? I'm just falling apart. I can barely talk. I am so tired. I am so broken. Why on earth this connection broke me down, and how it's supposed to heal me? How I'm supposed to trust that this is all an illusion when I feel that pain so real. I feel it. I'm so tired. I'm so tired and I don't know what to do next. What I'm supposed to do now, where I'm supposed to go. And yet, here I am. And I cannot escape it. No matter how much I try to control myself, no matter how busy I keep myself, I feel it's all falling apart. I will never hear from him. But what is this pain? Yes, that pain is now the ego that's gonna die. And I'm gonna now dive into the duality and non-duality and bring in a little bit Bhagavad Gita. So for those who want to hear about or those who are studying Bhagavad Gita. And so I'll just bring it in. And so there's going to be a little bit of a Indian mythology in that sense, because Bhagavad Gita talks through that. But it's here to realize that it's about us transcending the ego and understanding the unity of all of it, what happens. All of it is in oneness. And I'm just going to bring it in, the duality of the way. Like imagine that right now you and your twin flame are in a separation, and most probably when you're listening to this episode, you are in a period of separation. And your ego kind of sees that it's a sign of failure. And it kind of puts into the separation that separation is bad and the union is good. And that's going to lead you to the feelings of anger, disappointment, resentment. You feel all of that is not real. It's an illusion. And you feel like you're being punished or that you are not deserving this love. But now if you shift your perspective towards non-duality, you begin to see that separation is not a punishment, but it's a necessary part of your soul's growth. And this is what I've been talking a lot about it. This separation is your gift. It's a gift for the deeper layer of who you really are. And don't waste that gift. Don't think of it like it's all just a crap. All of that love is just a crap and I will never believe in this again. Because you and your twin are not truly apart, even if it really feels in a physical level. And you have so much proof of that. The sign, the synchronicities, the things. And this challenge now, it's going to face you with an amazing opportunities of inner healing. And the love between you two that exists beyond time, space and form. And when you are practicing the non-duality, you're going from the place of resistance to a place of acceptance and the inner peace. And once you have inner peace, love and freedom inside of you, no one can take from you. No one can take from you this. But I'm going to also mention here that it's not an overnight process. And you start to realize that this journey is about becoming the whole within you, not about fixing external things. And then the anger and frustration what you have starts to dissolve as you release the ego's need for control and you start trusting the divine plan and you start seeing the divine plan. And so we're coming to the Bhagavad Gita, who is so-called like one of the strongest, and I will bring it in the same. What is how Bhagavad Gita teach about the non-duality, like ego's attachment to the duality. And I do this very short version of here. I would say those of you really want to dive into this year and feel the whole inside of them, get yourself Bhagavad Gita, start connecting with this. It's a lot to learn, and please don't take it as something has to be religious or anything, even though Bhagavad Gita uses the Hindu concept. There is this, but has a lot of wisdom. So what is the ego attachment to a duality? And here is just a example of that. And just you can apply that in your life. And I just wrote these things down from my perspective, how I see it. But I would say that all of you have your own truth. So always dive into that. And so Arjuna, the warrior, is initially caught in the ego-driven perception of duality. So he sees the battle before him as a struggle between right and the wrong, between friends and enemies. And so the Arjuna is really much attached to the outcome of the war and the fear that is going to cause the harm. But that what's going to paralyze him what's going to paralyze literally with a doubt. And when we have a doubt, it paralyzes you. So you understand what I mean, that this is a good thing and this is a bad thing. If this happens to my journey, this is a success. This is what it's going to be. All of this so Arjuna on this Bhagavad Gita is an example of, we are thinking, if I earn that much money, I'm successful. But maybe your family life is a complete disaster. How is that success? Or maybe. So you start comparing what is success. You start looking at other people's, like right now, the social media, and you see, oh, they are so happy. They are thriving in life. Maybe that they are absolutely suffering. My example of putting everything on social media, of looking so happy, so connected, like I never felt before. No, well, the truth was that I was protecting myself. And the doubt, when we are on this journey, is going to paralyze you. And now, how to transcend duality through knowledge and devotion. So, the knowing. When you're listening to my podcast, you're getting some knowledge. And I'm not saying I'm some guru or something. I'm far away from that. I'm just a voice. Krishna teaches to Arjuna to move into beyond dualistic thinking, selfless action, devotion, and spiritual knowledge. And Krishna really, really teaches us that all actions, when performed without attachment to the outcome, lead to liberation. And I have said that many times, and this is a key element of this journey. When you meditate because you want something, when you do exercise because you want to show something to others, or when you want to feed your ego that, look, I did this and this happened to me. Look, I did this and this didn't happen to me. You are an ego. But when you start now performing everything in your life without attached to the outcome, you're going to say nice words to the people because you feel like, and you don't expect them to say it back to you. You're going to go and help someone, or you're going to give money to sometimes someone just out of like that, without expecting anything back. You're going to feel liberated. You're going to share love without thinking what's going to come. It just comes from you. And that again aligns on twin flame journey, like where the true union comes from not controlling the relationship, not knowing what he's gonna do this or she's gonna do this, but really surrendering into the divine flow and trusting that all experiences, the joy and the pain and the union and separations, are part of this magic. And I am a living example how it is part of the magic. I every single day go to bed, I thank for this experience. But what you heard from me today, do you think on that moment I would have thanked that? On that moment I would say, yeah, what amazing experience. No. So it's part of the process, the anger, the resentment. All of this is there to kill your ego. And so also on this Bhagavad Gita, what she's teaching, and there is a Krishna relieves to Arjuna that all the beings are part of the same divine source. All of them, and we are. Whether we like it or not. Universe got beginning from something, boom. Whatever what exploded, but we are from there. We are all in oneness. And that and Krishna, in the sense of giving the teaching to Arjuna, that there is no true separation between self and other, between life and death. There is no separation. And everything is interconnected, and the soul is eternal. And now here is something, listen. While we realize that this is a non-dual nature of we are one, the ego may perceive like there's a separation. I'm in separation, I'm in separation, I'm in separation, I feel so much pain. But your soul knows that unity is the ultimate truth. Oneness and unity are the ultimate truth. And perceive towards that. Perceive with heart, with passion, with pain, with love. Go towards unity and oneness. Your ego always wants to know, but your soul already knows. Trust the soul. I have so much more to say, but let's wrap it up for today. And obviously, for those who want to hear more about it, I will put another longer version next week on Patreon about the non-duality teachings and how it's going to help you. Like I said, this weekend we did with many of the souls soul realignment, which is a very powerful method of aligning with oneness, aligning with all of this. But it can be disturbing for the ego. The ego can start fading back. You will find that on Patreon if you wish to do, although I would recommend you to have a private session for that. It's not something we should play around with. You need someone to hold your hand on that moment. But this is just for this. I want to say I have a huge gratitude and thank you for seeing so many of you here. Every time when I see that someone you are spreading light and love and that energy, I know that something magical is about to happen. There is also, in my future episode, I will talk about how Mayan calendar, Mayans are believing their calendar is coming to the new era of divine feminine and divine masculine. I will talk about this. So yeah, I became naked in front of you today with my own anger. So I hope you found that helpful, useful. However, I hope it was something for you today. So here are just a few things to go over. Costa Rica, we have today 2 spots, I believe, available. Where we're able to remodify and do things. So if you feel called to align divine feminine and divine masculine energies during the Shivaratri, you're more than welcome. Like I say, I live my life by the cosmic events. We have, from January, planets are aligned, a lot is going to happen, so you're going to see the shift and change within you. And those who would like to have a call, those who feel they need to flush it out, those who need to have anything, you're more than welcome to come and connect with me, twinflameawakeningjourney.com. Remember, you're not doing anything wrong as long as you're feeling it. And I don't even know what to say. If you wish to join the Patreon for more content, more meditations, more connections, you're more than welcome to do so. I want to say a huge thank you for being here. Huge thank you for opening your heart for healing, transformation, And I'll see you the next time over here. Lots of love and lots of light.
4 miles, that's all that we got left now. Before the road will run out, before it's time for goodbyes. 4 miles until we're changing our lives. What's at the end of this ride? Don't know just where we'll arrive. But you could be there feeling like yourself. I could be there, be somebody else. We could be alright. You could be there feeling like yourself. I could be there, be somebody else. We could be alright. No looking back, eyes on the road. Only thinking about where we're supposed to go. Don't have a map, just go with the flow. There's certain things we're not supposed to know. 4 miles, that's all that we have left now. That's all that we had time for. Don't know just where we'll arrive. But you could be there feeling like yourself. I could be there, be somebody else. Yeah, we could be alright. You could be there feeling like yourself. I could be there, be somebody else. Yeah, we could be alright. But you could be there feeling like yourself. I could be there, be somebody else. We could be alright. You could be there feeling like yourself. I could be there, be somebody else. We could be alright. We could be alright. We could be out.